Welcome back to The Curious Yapper. I'm Madison, your host and favorite yapper. And today's a special episode because it is our 10th episode. We're on two whole hands. And we have a very special guest, my girl Kylie.
Hey!
And she has been visiting, and it has been such a joy and just a pleasure to host her. So please give, the warmest welcome you can to Kylie. We're excited she's here. And in our trip together, she's been visiting since midweek, and it's been a blast. And we met just being some little corporate girlies, and the friendship just kept going. So Kylie, what were some first impressions, or how did we attach each other to each other?
So first impressions were not sparkly and fun and cute. Madison did not think I had a lot of depth, and that is because my answers did not provide a lot of depth.
Fair.
When being asked certain questions.
Yeah.
My first impression was just, I haven't had to really think about this. I think my first impression wasn't necessarily negative. It was just oh, this girl has had experience.
Experience doing what?
Life.
Okay.
I was
okay.
Okay. Gotta know a little more. Because whenever you were sent, you were like, yeah, I came over I was a teacher. I was like, teacher in finance? What? What is she doing here? I was like, huh? And yeah, so that was first impression, was just oh, what's she about?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then we trauma bonded.
Sure did.
During our training. And just kind of kept that going, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We would, I guess, to cultivate the relationship, we would have lunches together.
Mm-hmm.
And we would talk about certain things, and one of those things was talking about community and the friends that we have and stuff, and sometimes maybe finding some friends that maybe are not always as deep or can speak on certain topics. And so it was fun to get deeper and figure talk about some different things and just go from there.
Yeah, I agree. To add on, I think, yes, there was trauma bonding at the beginning, and then we did develop the friendship where we were having lunches. We would have lunches with other people, but then when it really just became us having lunch, we actually got to talk about real life, and I've enjoyed listening to your stories and how you're growing, and then same for me, and I think both of us, for each other, provided perspective on how to move forward through times that don't feel so great, and you were a large part of why I felt like going to work was good, and I just knew I was going to see my girl, and so that was awesome to have in Texas. And then moving away, I was like, oh, I don't have that. And so knowing that even through your experience sharing how you found community also encouraged me to find different ways to go out of my way, and she's the reason I found Facebook things and just have gained the courage and the bravery to try to go outside of the comfort zone. So yes, so that she's a large inspiration for that. So I'm just tickled that she got to come. And last week she was supposed to come, but the weather de-weathering and decided to cancel her flight. So we were both bummed, but super excited that she got to do it the next week. And the weather was perfect. Yes, so it ended up working out really well, but it's been an honor to be your friend and to have that relationship.
Yes,
I really
same here. I very much appreciate it. I love the great questions that you always ask. They're phenomenal.
Yeah, and we both similarly, if we're going through a struggle or challenging part, you'll be like, hey girl, here's your little mirror. Have you done those things you taught me to do? And then I do it back to you, and so it's just you're actually making me accountable on things. I thought that's just the hee ha ha little situation. So yeah, that's some of our backstory, and it feels like a good friendship, and it's just funny to go and remember our impressions of each other at the beginning, and how
different.
wrong they could be, and how wrong they could be. And people say first impression is so important.
Everything.
And it is.
Sure.
But it wasn't everything.
Right.
So
I think had we not gotten the chance to talk and connect, it would have just been like, oh yeah, that's that shallow girl.
Yeah,
That's her.
she ain't got anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been really fun. Okay, so tell us what has been one of your highlights of being up here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes. Okay. I was saying, I think that's hard because there's so many things to choose from. Like, the hikes here are incredible. The fact that we can literally just like after work, like just come home, change, go. And we are in the middle of the mountains, beautiful trees and flowers.
We'll get there.
At waterfalls, like the nature aspect is just incredible. Like, it is everything. Obviously spending time with you and Evan has been so fun, and getting to like chat and catch up and talk about different things. I've really enjoyed that. Even sitting on the couch, like watching TV, that was so great. Like, it's just so fun.
Yeah.
And then this morning, Carver Cafe. And
Go Twilight girly.
Yeah, we do. We sure do.
Yeah, girl.
And then getting to see like the mountain peaks whenever you're driving, and then the wildflower hike. Yeah.
She said that for me.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Gosh, what else? Like, it's just all the food has been really good too. Like, really good.
Yeah.
The burgers. Yeah, we had burgers last night, and that was after. Was that after a hike? Yeah. That was a long day. Yeah. Long day, hard hike. Like, we were, well, no, it wasn't. That was our Yap hike.
Yeah, that was our Yap hike.
Yeah. Still fun. We did walk like 5 miles, I think. Yeah. It was a long day, and those burgers really, they hit. Yeah, they hit.
And the pretzel.
Oh, and the pretzel.
Yes.
And I was expecting horrible cheese. Horrible cheese would have been great with this pretzel, but it was great cheese. Very yummy, very delicious.
Turns out you can't find good queso where you expect it, but you'll find it where it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And so it was good.
Least expectation, yeah. Even the bed. Oh my God, the bed is a highlight of the trip. Oh my word. It is so comfortable. Y'all come up here, you'll be treated like queens, okay? Let me tell you. But, oh my God, and hosting experience, literally, like, just the greatest hosts. Like, I have never felt so cared for and thought of, like, being here. Yeah. It's true. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to choose just one. Even going to work, I felt like was a highlight.
It's
like,
so fun.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
Like, literally just like old times, like getting to yap and do work.
Yeah, we were working.
We did. Yes. And meeting everyone at the office. And
it's like you get to meet the
team.
characters.
Yes, put
behind
faces
the scenes.
to names. Yes, because I be watching every single one of these. And I know now who's who. But yeah, that's what I would say. Like, it's just so hard to choose because it's just been so fun. Like, it's this weekend is just a highlight. Like, it's just awesome. I love it.
Same.
Yeah.
Same for me for sure. I was saying maybe yesterday that my cheeks were hurting because I just kept smiling, and it's true. And I, as the yappers know, I have been in some ruts, and I be, trying to live life. And so just to have the pick-me-up of a weekend like this is just very fulfilling. And I'm like, yes, it breathes some life into you for sure.
Yeah.
So that's been fun. Okay, so she alluded to some of the flower stuff. So I know the yappers have heard that I am just telling you that I just love it here. It's just green, but I tell you about the flowers all the time because I'm pumped about all the flowers. I love the colors. I love seeing the random things in the wild. So Evan and I went on the wildflower hike a couple weekends ago, and I told Evan, I was like, okay, this is the hike, right? This is the hike. And I asked him, I said, so does this make the list? Is this where you're going to tell people to go? And he's like, well, Madison, I would probably ask them what they're looking for. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Sure.
In one ear, out the other, because doesn't everybody like what I like? So I have been planning our itinerary, and realizing later on that I've been planning things that I'm passionate about. And I'm like, flowers, girl. And so Kylie knew that we were going on a hike after work on Thursday, but I told everyone, I was like, don't tell her where we're going. She doesn't know what she's going to see. And like, we just got to keep it a surprise.
Big surprise.
Big surprise. So the surprise was we're going to go see the wildflowers because I just thought it was gorgeous. You see your little sunflowers and your little fake Texas bluebonnets. We forgot the name of them. Something violet, something.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we are on the hike and Kylie's like, yeah, this is fun. And then it wasn't until after that I was like, oh, I am obsessed with flowers. And like not everyone is, because even when I picked her up from the airport, she was noticing all the beautiful trees as we're coming home, and I was like, oh, she's saying like trees. Okay, let me go show her the flowers. So we drove a roundabout way home because I was like, this girl needs to see the flowers. Like, hey Kylie, did you see those white ones over there? Can you believe they're just like on the side of the road? And like every single time I saw a flower, I'm just pointing it out to her, and she's like, yeah. She's like a good sport, right? She's like, yeah, it was pretty. But it wasn't until we do the hike that I'm like, oh, flowers aren't for everybody. And then, you know, that lesson Evan tried to teach me about, I'd recommend things depending on what people are looking for. That lesson, you know, was just, that it came, I remembered it.
Right.
It came back to the big brain.
Yes,
The
yes,
front of that.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that just was a really funny, humbling mirror experience where I'm just like, oh, just because I'm excited about it doesn't mean that's what she's looking for.
But that's okay. That's okay. It is fun to share the excitement, and I was so happy sharing it.
And the activity.
And there were trees.
There
were
were
trees for it. Yep. So it was
there were
good.
trees. There were trees on the hike.
Yes.
Yeah. A funny story about the hike. Okay. So when Evan and I did it, we didn't know that you'd be able to see the mountains on this hike. So we're just like trudging up this hill, and all of a sudden when Evan and I were there, we're just like, and I was just so excited about the mountains. So Evan and I both were on the hike with Kylie, and we were in anticipation. We're like, oh my gosh, Kylie is going to see the mountains. It's going to be crazy. And Evan eventually was in front leading us because, you know, the corporate girlies, the girly girlies, they don't need to break the spider webs, you know, like that's a boy's job.
Yeah.
So we put Evan in the front to break the spider webs, right? So anyways, then I told Evan, I was like, hey, Kylie's got to be in front soon. And because both Evan and I knew that the mountain was about to happen. And so I'm like, okay, Evan, it's Kylie's turn. Kylie needs to be in front. And Kylie's like, yeah, girl, here I go. I'm a hiker, girl. And then Evan and I behind Kylie are like, oh my gosh, it's soon. It's going to happen. And then we see it. Evan and I are like, Mount Hood, it's there. We're just still going. Kylie hasn't reacted. I'm like, she's not a mountain girl? Like, what's going on?
That's crazy.
And then I go, hey girl, you looking at your feet, girl? And she's like, yeah, girl. And I was like, hey girl, look up. And she's like, oh. I love that story so much.
It's so funny. I just had no idea. I didn't want to trip.
Yeah.
And
She's a safe girly.
Yes. And whenever she asked, I was like, yeah, girl. Like, yeah, I'm looking at my feet. What? And I look up. Oh.
That was so funny. So fun. Yeah, that was great.
That was awesome.
And then we did, you know, tailor the experiences then to what Kylie wanted, you know, more interested in the next day. So that was great and funny. And I'll say one more thing about the silly flowers is that there's a peony farm down past somewhere in Oregon. And I was like, girl, there's a peony farm. And I was like, okay, I'm thinking we're going to do that Saturday, but like, I got to check to see if they're blooming. And then as I'm like hyping up this peony farm, I'm remembering, you know, that Evan conversation and the whole like the flower conversation. I'm like, oh, the peonies are for me. And I was like, Kylie, girl, you got it. She's like, no, I was excited because you're excited.
Yeah. I was happy to share in the excitement.
But yeah,
happy to go.
Turns out not everybody's going to be, you know, the same interests. You know what I'm saying? So it helps, you know, the whole communication thing to like ask. Didn't even ask.
And that's
So,
okay. That's
yeah.
okay. That's okay. We figured it out along
we fixed
the way.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We fixed it. So, okay. On then the hike that was more catered to the Kylie girl, it was a yapping hike. And on yapping hikes, you'd be talking about life. One of our topics, as we keep it real on the Curious Yapper, is talking about like what is even life's purpose, like what we doing here on this big floating rock, and what do you do to like find happiness and joy. And we both have at different times been in ruts, so we were sharing and like talking about life. So do you have any tips to the yappers on how you have done small things or had advice to get out of the ruts, because it'd be hard.
It'd be real hard, yeah. Okay, so yes, obviously yes.
Duh, she's a
Duh,
guest.
duh. I think so. One thing I was given was to like do the things that make you happy. So realize like what your values are and kind of try and figure out within that value how can you make steps or take action to achieve that or satisfy that. And so personally for me, one of mine is like big thing is community, and you feel the same way. We're big community girls, and not just like community like all the people
Numbers.
We're community in the sense that we want our cup to be filled by meaningful conversations and genuinely being interested in someone and getting to know them on a deeper level than just, you know,
What'd you have for lunch?
Right.
What's your coffee?
Right. How's it going? You know, one of those. Like you want a little more.
Yeah.
And so just figuring out like what helps with that. So to get out of a rut in that scenario for me was, okay, well, let's meet friends. Like let's start that community. Let's start meeting people. Same thing with like dating. You know, you need to date these people to figure out which friends you want to keep and which friends you want to like stay hanging out with and seeing and so on and so forth. And so yeah, that's been one for community. I think another with getting out of a rut is to it's hard because I don't know that I have a full answer for it. I think for community specifically, yes, because that is something that I've been working towards. But I think rut-wise, it's a bit difficult because it requires you to work on yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
yes.
Like you have to really understand yourself and why you might be in that rut to then get out of it. So if like, okay, for example, I have been kind of questioning, like, is Dallas for me? Is this really where I want to be? Does Dallas have the same values that I share? Does it offer the same opportunities that I'm looking for? And coming here was kind of a hint to a certain direction of like, oh, you know, I really do enjoy getting off work and being able to go into nature and just hang out and go take a hike and even driving home. Like, I enjoy looking at all of the different trees and the greenery and the mountains and, like, just small stuff like that was just so nice. And it was, like, that was something I missed in Arkansas from college. And it was like, okay, wow, like, that's something that Dallas doesn't have. And so, you know, that small inkling of, like, oh, I really do like this kind of adds to that pool of, oh, this stuff might make me happy. That was such a long-winded answer of how to get there.
I love it.
But
we be yapping.
We do be yapping. Yeah, this is the channel for yapping.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a little insight into the steps that I personally have taken and like thought through. But yeah, it can be very, very difficult because it is an active choice you are making to make yourself happy. And it is. Happiness is a choice, regardless of, you know, scenario, environment, whatever. There can be horrible, horrible things. You can feel those horrible, horrible things. But to want to grow within yourself and to be happier, it's an active choice that you have to make and have to work on.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Yeah. Well, I want to touch back on the dating and the friendships. And I think both of us have expressed, we have some friends for kind of different scenarios.
Yes.
And so some friends are like, you're spontaneous, let's just go do something, don't necessarily need a plan. And then there's the other friends that like recharge your soul. And so I think for me right now, I need the friends recharging my soul.
Yes.
And that is going to take more time to establish for sure. And it doesn't mean that I'm not meeting, you know, my fun, spontaneous little board game people or my trivia people or, you know, book club people, but it It is a journey, and I think when you find people that do see your soul and can fill you up in that way and show up in that way, it's really special. So I think that's why this is still working and still a friendship. So
100%.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Also, what you said was finding the things that do make you happy or fill you up. I think in life, figuring out what those things are is a journey in itself, because especially when you go through like high school then college, I don't know that there's a lot of time given to like, hey, like slow down and like be in tune. Yeah, enjoy it. And like, have you asked yourself the question, like, you're doing this thing, is it for you, or is it just because everyone else is doing it? And it's important to pay attention to those cues to know your motives behind the things that you just might be doing. So for me, it's definitely the small things add up.
Yes.
And if you can find the small things to get you through, and even like the gratitude stuff, or you find one great thing that happened that day, or I still do a journal, but one thing that made me smile or laugh, it's the accumulation of those things that can help you make it through.
Yeah, you bring up a good point of like when you're in high school and college, because I think when you're in that mindset, things are easier in the sense of like maybe you don't have as many responsibilities for some, like but even with it being easier, you don't sit down and think like, oh wait, what do I like? Do I enjoy doing this?
Yeah.
It's true. Like you just even in adult life, it's hard to remember to take a pause and be like, wait, do I like that?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Be honest. You know?
Yeah.
So it's interesting and good to remember to stop and pause and be like, what do I want? Because sometimes it's not for you. And sometimes it doesn't bring you joy when you think it does, and it can perpetuate the negative feeling. So yeah, it's good. Yeah. That's a good piece of advice.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think in the day and age of social media, it's really easy to just do the things because other people are doing it. And like social media be saying she with Edward Cullen, you know what I'm saying? Like, what, you know, and social media.
It doesn't lie. So.
Yeah, it doesn't lie. That's true. That's true. But like my social media be like all these smiles and stuff, and it's not always true. Yep. And so what I enjoy doing with the Curious Yappers is showing all parts, because you're not alone and no one has it figured out at all. No one. We're just trying.
We are just trying.
Yeah, just day by day.
Social media is such a good one too, because it's true. Somebody told me, they were like, it is a highlight of somebody's life. Yeah. Even looking at my own social media, I'll look back and I'll be like, oh my God, I was so happy. I was so no, babe. You were not, actually. So remember when you posted this.
This is what happened behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's actually what happened. And you have to like remember that it's, even if you take an audit of your own page, you've got to take an audit of everybody else's, of like, you know, maybe this is great for them, I'm so glad they're doing this, but you can't just, that's one of the things, you can't just assume a certain thing about their page or what they're feeling or what they're going through. And that's one of the things of the 4 agreements to live by, is not to assume. And it's such a good piece, because even thinking about like comparison's a natural thing. Social media is huge with comparison. And even when you are comparing with somebody else, you assume a certain idea of the way that they think or the way that they live. And that's not always fair, because it's not always true. And so, so assuming certain things is not beneficial, and remembering to not assume and to instead ask the questions and figure it out for yourself and have those discussions, have those conversations, is when you can figure out, oh, I'm not alone. These are the things that other people did that maybe I can try to help myself. Which is funny, because also I think that it's such a testament to like who we are at the core of like we are storytellers, you know what I mean? And our stories help other people. Our stories help us feel connected and not alone. And so it's funny to want to learn from others' experiences to help yourself, you know? And it's just interesting to see like what people have gone through, because if you assumed that I was this prick, shallow person, this would never have been, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And instead we got to know each other and we were like, oh my god, wait,
Mm-hmm.
you're epic. That's so cool.
I think the opposite of assuming is that curious mind to ask the questions and to not assume. But that is so hard because we all write our own scripts and
100%.
have our own biases. We're like,
100%.
she looked at me funny. She must be.
Yeah. She's so awful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to have that girl pause, if you can not assume, if you can pause and you can be curious, I think the world would be a much better collaborative place.
100%.
We're just here solving the world's problems, you guys.
You're welcome.
You're so welcome.
You're welcome.
But this was a absolute delight. I hope that the Curious Yappers find someone in their lives that see their souls. Doesn't even have to be romantic, but she sees my soul, and I think that relationship is invaluable.
Yes.
And like, I think it will last many seasons of life, and I'm
I
excited.
agree.
Yeah, I'm excited to see your seasons of life, and support you along that way, and like same for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah. So excited for that. But I hope you enjoyed this 10th episode, you guys. We made it to 2 whole hands.
Woo!
Yeah, 2 whole hands. And stay tuned for figuring out if living outside your comfort zone really pays off. But I'd be comfortable this weekend. This was great for the soul. She helped me go outside my comfort zone. I tried sushi. I tried some Mediterranean food.
Did so well.
And tried matcha ice cream.
Yes.
So like we're still doing stuff, but like it's fun to have a comfort buddy. So
Yes.
100%. Have a great week, yappers. Thanks for yapping. Bye.